Okay. I'll wait and see if we get anybody in here. We get somebody in here, and then I'll give it a couple minutes. Let somebody get in here. Let somebody type. Let me know I've got people here. Now, I'm expecting Warren tonight for anybody that's out there. Okay. Just thought I'd let you know. That Warren will be in here tonight. Of course, Blue Skies Media, if he's out there and hears this, he's always welcome to come in. I know Warren would love to have him in here since Warren's TFL, but we'll wait and see how that happens, okay? And we'll go from there. Oh, I see it's a Hayden. Haven't heard from you in a long time. Yeah, I know you haven't been on Zoom. But, I got a few things I've got to say out here tonight, but I can see Hayden's out here in the chat anyhow. Oh, that's good. That's good. Lots of things are getting set to change, though. They really are. They're stepping in now. Just think, man, telling the truth is going to be illegal here real soon. That's right. It's going to be a man-made rule violating the First Amendment. Yep. As they do away with your First Amendment. Yep, that's on its way out the door. Sure is. This is what happens when you give these criminals an inch. They don't just take a mile. You give them an inch and they'll take 1,000 miles. And that's exactly what they've done. All you got to do is go back to in March. Oh, we just locked it down for a couple of weeks. And then old freaking your lovely CEO of the corporation called government here in America, he turns around and tells you, well, it'll all be over by August, July or August, it'll be done. It'll be gone. We'll be all good. We'll be all good to go. We sure are. We're all good to go. Cases are rising based on a fraudulent test for something that's invisible. Well, you know why it's invisible, don't you? Should be in your face while it's invisible. And then, of course, you see the name I gave the live stream, You don't believe me when I'm talking about getting ready to kiss your First Amendment goodbye? Oh, yeah, this is in government right now. It sure is. They're using QIN. That's right. They're using a PSYOP that they fed to you. Normal, isn't it? They create the problem. They allow some people to come in after they've created the problem. Mm-hmm. These people feed into the problem, and then they give you a solution. Well, of course, that's what they've done: problem, reaction, solution. And of course, the solution is to take away your First Amendment. And of course, that ain't always going to stop. Oh, no, 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 no. And these criminals took an oath, did they not? Yes, they did. They took an oath. That's right, to defend the Constitution. Hell, their way of defending it is to light it up on fire and burn it. Yep, sure is. That's what's going on right now. They're getting ready to move in and take away your rights. That's right. Would you think anything different was going to happen? All you got to do to make it happen is comply. Put a diaper on your face for something that's invisible. You're going to put that diaper on your face that never protected anybody from anything, anyhow. And you're going to make sure to stay way away from other people. Couldn't have you around other people, No, couldn't do that. Oh, that'd be a crime. They want to do that. That's how that goes. So then your immune system gets weak because you're not sharing bacteria with other people. That's right. That helps to weaken your immune system. You get to breathe in your own CO2 that you exhale out your mouth. That's right. That does brain damage on little kids. It's slow. It's a slow process, but it does. And anybody with underlying conditions, well, especially if they have a lung disease, yeah, that'll be favorable for them, right? Sure will. Sure won't. No, they do that because they're concerned about your health. Want to make sure you're healthy. Yeah. Everything's upside down on its head. What did you think what they were going to do? That's how that works. And it ain't going to get any better. There's a lot of evil, bad stuff getting ready to happen because you're complicit. So what happens when you're complicit and you're scared and you're afraid to stand up, and you're afraid to speak, and you're afraid to talk, and you're afraid what somebody else might think of you? You don't want to look into anything because that might take a little extra time out of your day, right? That might cost you a few minutes of your valuable time to look into something awful. Yeah, that people want to act that way. But there's nothing I can do about that. I just ain't nothing I can do about it. So let's see if this comes up. Give me a moment, guys. And then once I get somebody in here, I got to make sure that my OBS studios recognize them. I don't want to have any issues otherwise, which is exactly what would happen. If I don't pay attention to the OBS studio once they come in, then maybe I'll have sound and they won't, huh? Well, I hope that don't gotta happen, because then I have to quit the show and start the show all over with the OBS studio. It's just on the OBS side. If that happens, I'll tell you to stay put. Uh, it appears Hayden disappeared. But anyhow, that's okay. You know, the sad thing is that people really don't start taking things seriously. They're about to be very sorry they didn't. Because I'm not joking you. This is right up there on the government website right now. High Impact Flux actually did a video on this. He just didn't provide a link to the government website. Okay, so I've cruised government websites over the years many times, and so I went and took a look. And there it was. Yep. And there it was. It's legit. There's no doubt about it. It's definitely legit. Sad. There they are violating their oath. They're getting ready to take away your First Amendment. And then anybody that shares a link to another story, anybody that speaks up, anybody that says anything against the official lie, the BS that's enslaving you, well, now they get to come and arrest you. That's right. And of course, the thugs, they won't use their heads. Why do you think they won't hire a cop that has a brain cell? If they recognize the Constitution, they don't qualify. They can't be a cop. If they recognize right and wrong, they don't qualify. They can't be a cop. They have to be order followers. They have to be willing to do anything they're told, regardless of what. And that's exactly what you've been seeing going on for 10 plus years in this country. Longer than that, if you want to know, but 10 years back, it really started ramping up. And now here we are. Yeah, here we are. Now they're moving in. See, I've been telling people all along they're moving in. Well, I see we have Jane in here. So, at this point in time, I'm still alone in the chat. But that's life. But people, I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to say a few things about Blue Sky Media here. Okay, Blue Sky's Media, I recognize the man's anger. After watching him for a while and realizing this guy was for real. I know people don't like the way he talks. They don't like the anger. They don't like this. What did they think that was going to happen? What do you think? You can just keep dumping on somebody and dumping on somebody and dumping on somebody and they're not supposed to be angry? Is that what it is? Is that what people think? And if they get angry about it, somehow they're in the wrong for being angry over how you're treating them, how society's treating them, how they're being dumped on and thrown under a bus. And so, meanwhile, you'll criticize them, come after them, attack them, call them all kinds of names, and blah, 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 and furtherly attack them. Okay, and then wonder why they would be mad, huh? Yeah, I hear a train in the background there. You hear it? It's coming. But the train that's coming, you ain't gonna like. You won't be waiting for the crossing. You'll be run over. Because this train goes off of tracks. This train runs on tracks, off tracks. It runs everywhere, and it will run you over. This train is commonly called mind control, government, CIA, MK Ultra. Yeah, I mean it just goes on and on. So I see Jane is in the chat anyhow. If she's still in the chat or listening, I don't know. I have no way of knowing that. But I'll tell you what, things are about to get ugly. Things are about to get nasty. You think it's been a bad year so far? You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing, I'm telling you. It's about to get a whole lot worse. A whole lot worse. You think 2020 is bad, you ain't seen what 2021 is going to offer you. But you're about to. And if they push this bill through, well, then the only thing I can tell you is you're going to have to take down your channels and shut your mouths. Because we already know nobody's going to stand up, ain't that right? That's about what it is. Nobody's going to stand up. They're all going to bend over. But you won't deserve any lube. I'm telling you. The only thing you deserve is a dry entry because that's what you're going to get. And I'm not trying to be mean about it, but the reality is slapping you in the face. This bill is dead serious. This is no lie. This is all factual. We have H.R.1154 condemning QAnon, QAnon, the psyop that they created themselves. Yeah, that came right from CIA and intelligence. That's who brought that online to you. Yep, and now they're using that and rejecting the conspiracy theories it promotes. What then, when you start reading this, I'm going to drop a link. I don't know if it'll come through to you, but I'm going to drop a link. And you should read this. That's the way I feel about that. You need to read this. And you need to understand this is for real. This is coming your way. For the people who want to keep thinking that I've been up here speaking and I'm a nut or whatever, I don't care. And I've walked away from it. Yes, I have, and I'm not doing regular live streams anymore. But this is something that needs to be talked about. This is something you need to be aware of. This is not something you can just blow off. If you blow that off, you're going to wish you hadn't. That's all I can tell you. If you don't pay attention, what's going on, you're going to wish you had. I can't do much for you. I can point it out. I can tell you all about what's been taking place. I can tell you what I see. I can tell you I've been watching this stuff for a long time, but I can't make you pay attention. No, that's just not possible. That's going to be totally up to you. And I can't make people speak out. They have to want to. Can't make people fight back. I mean, literally, we live in the land of the enslaved. I'm telling you. You know, I laugh when people say they got the American dream. Yeah, they got a dream, all right. That's why it's the American dream, because that's all it'll ever be is a dream.
Hey, Bill, are you there?
Hey, Hayden, how's it going?
Not too bad. It's been a long time.
Yes, it
Long
has.
time no talk. Yeah. I haven't been doing much lately. Just same usual routine.
Work home, work home, work home, work home.
Work, I exercise when I can. Spend more time with family, though. I'm spending more time with my parents, so I guess that's a good thing.
Well, that probably is, especially in the time that we're in right now, Hayden.
Yeah.
I would say that's probably a wise idea. You know,
Well,
I was just telling them a little bit about this bill that's up there at the house right now. Okay. And it's something that people really need to pay attention to. They think things have gotten bad. No, they ain't seen nothing yet. We have HR 1154 condemning QAnon, okay, and rejecting the conspiracy theories it's promoted. Now you want to think that's why I dropped the link. You read through this, it's not super long, but it's a little bit lengthy. But when you read through this, you're gonna see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? They're coming after anybody speaking truth. And I've been watching this, and now the reason they're doing it is because they need to shut us up. And so they're going to try to pass, they're going to pass this bogus law. Remember, law is a man-made rule, and the people doing it are violating their oath. They want to take your First Amendment away from you, and what is the oath was to protect the Constitution, not to burn the Constitution. But that's literally what's going on. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. That's really what's going on.
I guess, the Constitution never really meant shit to begin with.
No,
it was didn't. Founded by banker tyrants and slave owners.
It sure
when this country was founded.
That's how this country was founded. It's always been a scam, a lie.
I mean, Bill, if people don't retaliate against mandatory forced vaccinations that are on their way, it's fucking game over. If you can't retaliate against that, you can't retaliate against shit. No. And if you can't get people to see how vile that is on a basic level, people are gone. It's not even worth trying to save people who can't think on that level. It's just not. It's why I kind of gave up trying to wake up people, because it's like there's a fucking brick inside people. It's like there's a fucking brick inside of people's brains
our spell's been casted on them or something,
Yeah. It's like there's a brick in people's brains that hasn't been put in our brains. It allows us to see what people can't see. And it's so simple. That's how you know that there's some sort of invisible forces at work or a spell that prevents people from seeing what's really going on. Because it's not hard to comprehend what's going on in our world. It's not hard to comprehend the evil that's being conspired against us. People just don't care and they don't want to see it. Don't.
No, they don't want to see it. They want to turn their head and look the other way, or they want to deny it, and and they don't want to, and especially they don't want to take responsibility, which would mean we would have to stop being divided. We would have to stand together. And if you think what's bad coming down here in the U.S., I mean, you better remember this is one world government. You better remember this is going to affect every country out here. And there ain't nobody going to escape this. Okay? But you remember this the bill I'm showing you, that's why I screen captured to show people. That is literally being pushed right now. Okay? That's the reason I dropped the link. You're going to see that's official. That's right off the government website. There's no BS. And they are after the First Amendment. And like I said, man, you give them an inch, they'll take 1,000 miles, and that's exactly what they're doing. You go back in March and think
Mm-hmm.
about it. They said it'll only be for a couple weeks. And then they said, oh, you wouldn't have to wear the diaper on your face. Then they turned around and said, yes, you got to put a diaper on your face. Okay. Then they turned around and kept it going. And now here they are. They gave you a little breather over the summer, see? And now here they are moving into stage two. This is what I told you all along, man. I've been screaming this. Okay, so they're going to bring it in stage two now. See, they're going to up the antes and up the antes, and here they are, right behind your back. Here they are. They're moving in after First Amendment to shut anybody online that's opening their mouth. Yeah, they'll have. If they push this through, then they're going to have feds, and you're going to have order followers that carry guns coming to your door to say, "Oh, you shared a link with somebody, and it's fake news." It'll be like Miss. It'll be like your so-called leader in chief, okay, constantly screaming about fake news, fake news. He is the fake news. What part of that
Yeah,
don't people understand? And then we have
it's
Ron fans in here as well. Hayden. Hello, Ron.
yeah. Hi guys, how
What's
you,
going
Bill?
on, Ron?
Hi, Hayden.
I'm
Yeah,
not
just
bad.
I haven't been in the chat for a while, and I was just coming in. You took my position, Hayden. I thought Bill seemed like he wanted someone to come in, and you just came literally the same second I was trying to get in. So, but yeah, I think it's good. I think it's reminiscent of the classic nights of Saturday Night Live. Bill should really bring that back. I think it's a popular opinion in the comments, YouTube comments. So consider it, Bill.
Yeah, well, you know how it goes. That is, I laugh a little bit because Harry pointed something out that was very accurate, and then he went and looked, and it is real accurate. I shut down Saturday Night Live, and well, lo and behold, if that guy named First didn't stop making live streams. It sort of appears like
Yeah,
maybe
first
that
he
was the entire agenda was get Bill to stop the show, and then they'll walk away.
yeah, they wanted to take the traffic from you and show it into their CIA agenda.
Well,
Mm.
it's just ridiculous, but that's all right, and I think, and I was watching nothing but censorship anyhow. I do a show and I was getting less and less people and people not wanting to call in and nobody wanting to participate and if you're not interested, that's fine. I don't gotta waste my time coming up here. So I stopped wasting my time coming up here, so what can I say? Now that well, it appears they're brand new people they were all running to suddenly disappeared too, didn't they, huh? Yeah, right after Bill shut the show down, they were gone too. How convenient that was.
Yeah, you're
Yeah, a
right,
lot of
Bill.
the listeners were mere fanboys of Steve Hoka. So after you split with Steve, I can see why you might have shut down
Well,
the show.
what's
It
pathetic
wouldn't have
about
had much traffic.
that? It'd be like Cold Steel saying, "Well, they had an argument." No, there was no argument. I wasn't the one that came on a live stream and threw TFL under a bus. He is. He spoke about TFL for what, 13 and a half years, and he just throws it under a bus and runs right over there with the guy that's going to lead him right to his. Anyhow, we won't even go there. But he came screaming at me. I didn't come screaming at him. He come yelling and screaming at me, and he had an agreement that if he ever had a disagreement or was mad or if he thought of anything that was blah blah blah, he would never bring it live. He would always call me on the phone and talk about it. Right? He didn't do that.
Mm.
He broke his own agreement. He literally broke his own agreement. So, and with that being said, I got to bring one more person in that I told everybody he was going to be here, and
All
that
right.
would be Warren.
Oh, it's Sunday.
Hey, what's up?
Hey,
Oh,
Warren.
Warren is back.
How you doing,
Warren
Mr.
is here
Warren?
tonight, man. You got Warren with you
All
tonight.
right.
Warren
Okay.
hasn't been in a long time. It's good to see him back.
Yeah.
So Warren,
Yeah,
I was just telling them about what's up there being pushed right now in law on the government website. Okay, HR 1154, and they're using QAnon, the psyop that they created.
QAnon.
Yes, they're using QAnon, the psyop they created. Okay, to remove your First Amendment right to shut us up. They're coming after your First Amendment right now.
Right to freedom of speech.
That's right. You're right to freedom
Yes,
of
and do you
speech.
think that will have the opposite effect as intended? Because obviously they're all Trump supporters, so they're trying to shut down that group. But if they're trying to shut down only Trump supporters, won't that just reify their position by trying to shut down them? Like they'll think that they're trying to silence us
trying to
and
shut down Trump
they'll be
supporters.
empowered.
Yeah, but Ron, it has nothing to do with trying to shut down Trump supporters. That's all a Hollywood act. There is no such thing as a good guy in your government. To think you're going to get somebody that's going to be for you is an illusion people keep living. Every 4 years, we live it again. Every 4 years, we live it again. Every 4 years, we live it again. Over and over and over and over and over.
So basically, you're going to censor anybody who they disagree. That's what they do. You've been hit with this leftist ideology now for the past, I would say at least 6 or 7 years, and like no other point of view is allowed to be spoken in public, and the alt-right is just controlled opposition.
Yes. It's all a dog and pony show, dude. I mean, that's what the entire thing is, and it doesn't matter where you're at. You didn't get a worldwide invisible bug because it wasn't planned. I can go back 31 years ago and show you the invisible bug 31 years ago. I got so much evidence, and I got two people openly in your face, a congressman in 2018 and Mr. Fauci himself before Trump come in office, openly in your face telling you this. On top of all the other stuff I've got. Okay? No, this has been planned for a long time. This is
I can show you an interview with Aldous Huxley back in the 1950s, man, where they talk about all the changes that are coming down now.
Yes.
That's
correct. Warren's right on spot. I mean, it's just this is why, I've been saying what I've been saying to people all along. It isn't because of anything other than telling you what's going on. I just wish people would understand that, We had Blue Skies Media come in here, and I was happy he did. He's actually more awake than I thought he was. But I do know this. I recognize the man's anger. I know why he's angry.
Is he here tonight?
Not yet, but don't mean he won't be. Give him time to hear the show, and he might come in.
But Bill, what I meant with the QAnon stuff was I thought that maybe that's an indication that the establishment actually want Trump to win because they're trying to shut down his base, or this very small segment of his base who are throwing out these accusations. And if they try and do that, then it will make it seem like the establishment is on the other side, and it will only vilify the positions of the QAnon people.
Well, understand
that will play into Trump's.
But the QAnon people was created by the establishment. This wasn't grassroots thing, okay? No, Trump's nothing. He's nothing but an actor. And people that don't think he ain't an actor are still not awake. You're leaders of your country.
So what are they trying to say that QAnon are what? what, they're radical terrorists or something?
Well, yeah,
Is
they,
that
you
what they're
know,
trying to pass?
No, you've never seen more clear controlled opposition than QAnon.
yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
You know, and the thing is that it's good. What this is coming down to is if you speak out against anything that's the official narrative from your owner, you know, that's why George Carlin said you have owners. And if your owner says what it is, even if they're outright lying to you and you know they are, if you say, no, that's not true, well, off to jail you go. You know, this is your freedom of speech. This is what the phony oath was all about. To make you believe you're free. That's all it is. Okay? And then we also got Hayden still here, I see. So if you want to throw something in here, Hayden, while you're here, go for it.
Oh, no worries. I was just letting everybody else speak. I've got a lot of interesting things to say, but you know, personally, I don't keep up with the new, not the news, but you know what I mean, the information that comes out on government websites concerning shit that they're trying to pass under the public's eye without people knowing, which we know that they do that all the time. I'm just to a point where the biggest thing that concerns me, it's not dating, it's not a civil war. I mean, a civil war could potentially break out between the public and the police if things turn out that way. But the biggest thing that concerns me is the mandatory forced vaccinations that are on the way. You know, I could see a lot of people dropping dead. I could see that being a very lethal injection. I could see them ramping up the chemical constituents inside of that cocktail.
That and big tech. Big tech's also another big concern. They're already pushing brain chips, Neuralink. Like Elon Musk is like the spokesperson for pushing this shit. And it's already been on mainstream television.
Yeah, that's called the technocrats, Warren. And that's who's really who's really pulling all the strings. Is the technocrats.
Yeah, Warren, you have been gone so long that you haven't been around since COVID. So could you give your thoughts maybe on what's going on that front? Because as we all know, this is the biggest psyop in human history ever. So
ploy that it engineered an international crisis, which means it's going to require an international authority to quote fix it, right? Because it's going to bring in the crashing of currencies globally, so they can bring us all into a digitized currency, which can be tracked.
They've already got that
set
up.
Anything you spend, they can track.
Yep, hold on a second. I want to say something right now on the show so we don't get booted out of the show, okay? Do not say the certain words over and over because the algorithm will throw us out of this live stream. Because they are using algorithm to take people out. So if you say certain words, so I would just stick with the invisible bug and not say the actual name, okay? I wouldn't talk about the shot neither because the algorithm will catch up with you, okay? Well, if you repeat it if you repeat it too much, they're gonna throw us out of the show. So because of what they're doing, unfortunately you're gonna have to talk in code. So just remember that when you're speaking.
Yeah, I kind of have to do that in the comment section online anyhow.
Yes. And it's that way on the live streams now. That's why they've redone all the live streams on everybody. Because the algorithm is now hooked to it. See, this is not the same platform for the live stream that I had before. This is an entire different platform now. Okay, and I know why they did it. Okay.
Well, you know what I mean? Freedom of speech is already gone, bro. It's just, I mean, we're not at the point right now where you can be rounded up and locked up for disagreeing, but that's coming.
It sure is.
Oh, yeah, it is.
That's why I told people, you think 2020 has been bad? You ain't seen nothing. This has only just started. You think it hasn't? No, they're getting ready to move into round 2 now. They have 4 steps in this. And they're only just now getting ready to go into the second step.
Yeah, but I think in fairness, Bill, your channel is sufficiently small that you don't really have to worry about that. There are many bigger channels who speak
plainly
about COVID.
Well, they may be bigger, but you better understand my channel's small because of them pushing me down. the censorship people been experiencing for the last few years, I laughed at him. W7, like 3, 4 years ago, read a new article on censorship, and he was right adamant about this is the worst censorship we've ever had, blah, blah, blah. Everything he read in that article had already been happening to me for 5+ years. My numbers are
Yeah,
pushed out.
the actual bug itself isn't really as bad. We've had other bugs that came before that were a lot worse as far as the fatality rate. And, you know, they didn't require shutting everything down and all this panic. You know, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it's overhyped. I'm not going to say that it doesn't exist. I do think it was exist, and I think it was probably developed in a laboratory in China. But I don't think that you can really pin it on even on China. I think it was probably funded from higher up.
It was funded by the United States. It was taken from Canada to China. Okay. And it's no worse than, it's actually, there's many different strains of this particular invisible enemy. Okay. And
yeah, no worse than the flu, but we're at a stage
Yep.
now where even this is public information. So, like, if you had said that 2 months ago, it would have been relevant. But now everyone knows that it's a scam, and it's only a question of are the people going to stand up now and stand against these coming lockdowns.
I don't see people doing it. I really don't, especially where I'm at now. I don't see it happening. You know,
Most of the people in America are fucking, I hate to say this, man, but there are exceptions, but a lot of them are flat out cowards. They'll just bend over and spread their cheeks, bro. I mean, because they want to take the path of least resistance.
yeah, unfortunately, they're going to. People don't want confrontation. They don't. They just want to be left alone. They don't want to look at us and outcast anybody because they're all too worried about fitting in. Warren dropped out, so he'll have to call back in again. Okay, he's got the information. He'll have to call back in again. He just dropped.
So Bill, is in your area, everyone is wearing the masks full time?
Not everybody,
24/7?
not everybody, but the majority. Okay, I've got one store right up the road from me. When you approach the store to go in the door, it literally says diapers on your face are required to shop here. I went in there today without one on my face, okay, and I shopped there. You know, and if they'd said something, they did attack me one time before for doing that, and I called them Nazis.
But we're meant to be in level 3, aren't we? Do you use the same level scheme 1 to 5?
What do you mean?
Is that the same in America? We talk about level 1 to 3 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. We're currently in level 3.
Well, actually, when you look at the documentation off the United Nations and your government sites, you're only entering stage 2 right now. There's 4 steps to this to this plan. That then they start on their next, because this bleeds from 2021 to 2030 to 2040.
Have they been spilling? Have they been giving you the same nonsense about we should be in level 5 full lockdown now so you can see your family members for Christmas?
Well, you know, I don't know, man. I don't want to count on anything.
Do you think?
I think
because
counting
it
on
seems like they're going to cancel Christmas.
I would suspect that there's a good chance of that. I really do.
And all the sheep on like the mainstream television are saying we should be in full lockdown now. I want to see my grandparents on Christmas.
Yeah, but yeah, I see that happening. I really do. Okay, I wonder if Warren's phone died or what. Because now that he's dropped out, I didn't remove him. He should be able to call back in, but with these damn updates, you never know with Zoom anymore because their updates prevent a lot of stuff. So hopefully, if he can't get back in, then my phone will be ringing. Unless his phone died and he had to go get another one. Because he still has his cordless. He might have to run in the house and get another one. Who knows?
Yeah, he's a very, very popular guy in the comment section. So
yeah, well, I talked to Warren earlier, so I knew Warren was going to be here tonight. I don't think he planned on dropping out. That was not with his intentions. You know, he was talking when he was gone. So I guess there he is now. Speaking of him, yep. I'm glad. Hello,
I'm
Warren.
here.
You're here
Hey, I
again.
got knocked off.
I know you did. And I was waiting for you to come back in.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
wonder if I
know.
just,
I don't know
yeah,
what
say something
happened.
that,
I just know you were gone. That's why I said we got to be careful because they'll knock this whole stream out if we don't be careful about our wording.
it might just be my phone too, because sometimes my phone just be doing it on my phone. Like after a while ago, but even on these three like really low pitch like beeps, and then it just goes dead.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I just know
Yeah.
1 second you were here, the next second you were gone. Okay. And
Yeah.
I knew there'd be quite a few people here that would be happy to hear from you again, Warren. But you
Yeah.
know, even before when they asked about you, just like I told them, man, you were just fine. There was nothing, you know, you were fine. Don't worry, he's not dead, you know. He was taking a break, and I don't blame him. And, you know, this is a one time thing, and he may be gone for a long time again. He may never hear from him again if this shit comes in.
Look, I'll be straight up honest. I really don't even care about the damn dating scene shit anymore. I mean, at this point, I mean, I'm not saying that they hadn't at some point had impact on my life. But like in a way, I'm lucky I don't have kids, and I'm lucky I didn't bring kids into this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, that topic I talked about with Blue Skies Media, and he totally agrees that now's not the time to be having children.
So in this era, we're gone post TFL.
Well, you know, TFL don't mean squat. You ain't got to worry about getting a date when you ain't gonna be alive. They got plans of reducing the population of the United States down by 88 to 85% by 2025. By
Let me
2030,
tell you something. The only people who are not going to be allowed to have relationships in the future, they're not even going to be allowed to have platonic relationships. But you're not even allowed to have family and friends. Right
no,
now, if you look at like certain groups, like you know, so-and-so live, so-and-so, you know, it says on a mission statement, you know, their goal is to eradicate whatever's publicly left of the family unit. You know what I'm talking about, right?
yes.
Yeah, BML. It's on their website, and they're only an arm of the current regime who want to push this wholesale across the entire world and across the West in particular.
You know, they've already taken the man out of the lead of the household of the family unit. Now they're just trying to dismantle whatever's left of the nuclear family because the goal is to atomize people, and that's what they're doing. They're trying to They're trying to make people asocial, asexual.
Yes, exactly, and I think they've mostly achieved that goal right now. Like you look at the entire culture.
Well, they have.
Based on
pay attention. You know, even just in the manosphere alone. You know, think about it. You got all these different categories in the manosphere, and nobody stands together at all. Even when they were going through the same problems, they were too busy playing the game, throwing on each other underneath the bus, and lying their tails off. Okay? And you know, this mentality we have about one up in each other and all the things you see going on worldwide is all part of social engineering. It's always been. It was for the end goal of what they're doing right now.
Yeah, you know, I mean, well, you got to think about this, man. Okay, and I've said it before, but I'll repeat it. Okay, is okay when you look at the traditions, it's supposed to be about family values, right? You got guys like Jordan Peterson, Mr. Family Values, comes in and gives a speech talking about why games are necessary in a relationship, right? Games, i.e. drama and lie deception, is necessary for a healthy relationship. Because all this bullshit about how to challenge one another to become better people by lying and deceiving one another somehow, right? And this guy's supposed to be a psychologist. This is the same guy that's telling other men to go clean their room, like they need to, like he's so mature himself. Okay, and they wonder why the family unit's in the damn toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jordan Peterson, he did affirm the incel view that it's like 80% of the women going after 20% of the man.
Yeah.
But he never actually gave...
He shames those 80% of the men, telling them they need to go clean their room when he himself is making up excuses of why lying and deception and drama needs to be a necessary foundation for a modern relationship.
Yeah, exactly. You can't pull yourself up by the bootstraps in a system which is completely designed to be against you.
Yeah. You know, so I don't take any of this shit seriously, man. I take seriously what I need to take seriously, but I'll just, man, I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is really. I don't know if there even is an answer at this point. I mean, people are going to fuck it up. I mean, it's always been. It's always, you know, if people haven't figured it out in 40,000 years leading up to this point, and they're more scientifically indoctrinated now than they have ever been at any other point in history, then I don't think they're going to fucking just all of a sudden get a wild hair in their ass to figure it out now.
Yeah, the one thing we can say is
a certain number of people might wake up to a level 1 level of reality, but
yeah, the one thing we can say is Bill and Warren, you are looking less and less crazy by the day. The people who doubted your whole worldview a couple of years ago, now you're looking like only people are talking sense.
Well, you know, I go back to when I first started this and I was attacked hard. I was a complete nut job. It was everything under the sun. Everything evil, everything bad. I bet, you know, I've been attacked so many times over the years, it ain't funny.
the thing is that they've been writing about this for a long time. If you go back and you look, read up works by Bertrand Russell, by Jacques Ellul, Alvin Toffler, they've been writing about this and becoming scientific dictatorship. All these changes. Again, Aldous Huxley spoke about it in an interview. That was back 50 years ago. They always tell you what they're going to do.
Yeah. Well, those are the authors who had the clue in at those times. But when we actually get to the actual event, it's way beyond which anyone could have ever predicted. Likewise, what we are only seeing now is nothing compared to what will be here in 50 years. It'll be the transhumanist agenda, and that will be absolutely unimaginable to where we are now.
Well, we're already going to have the transhumanist agenda possibly here about the next 12 years. They're already wanting to get it by brain chip.
No, well, the NWO is transhumanism inherently. That's how they achieve their goals, is their entire route to power. They usurp.
Well, their long-term goals, I think what they want the next 50 years is they want their new man.
Yes.
A hermaphrodite super slave. Nietzsche referred to it as the Overman or the Ubermensch or the Superman. Hence his comic book hero, Superman. There's hidden symbolism in that. Right? I
mean, he meant the Underman. The Underman is the man who's completely...
the Untermensch and the Ubermensch. The Untermensch is... I'd have to really break down the eugenics cycle, or I should say the dysgenic cycle. The Ubermensch it goes into Zionism too. I've been putting this together, okay? You have your Ubermensch and you have your Untermensch. And what I think it is okay, and I think I've described my thing before about how the Kyles are ethnic group that spans all colors, right? And they're in all parts of the world, since God scattered 12 tribes of Israel across the globe, right? Okay, well, a certain amount of them, Israel is the cauldron for brewing this new man, and they were the preferred side. That's what they were chosen for. Hence, they were chosen people, right? So they were chosen to be the stock used to usher in the Ubermensch, right? Well, who's the Untermensch? My theory on it is that the Untermensch are the other brown races and shit like that, like the other mixed peoples that will be left behind, right? They trim off the fat, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
You mean the Ubermensch is in the Underman rather than the Superman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, I've been looking at a lot of stuff, and I'll tell you what. I purposely collected a couple of videos and the one was already ripped offline, so I'm sure glad I did, okay? And I'm a little bit leery about putting them up because of the fact that it'll just be ripped off. Okay, a line. They don't want people seeing it. Okay, but they're so accurate on what they're saying and what they're showing. Okay, it'll just blow your mind. And I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put it because I need to do something with it so I can get it to people to see that hasn't seen it. Okay, altogether it's just about 2 hours worth of watching for the short attention span of most people. Unfortunately, won't make it through it, but there's so much here that's factual truth, and most of this I knew about. Some of this is just mind blowing. Okay, it's a real mind blower, and I can only say this. You know, Trump will be back in office again. Okay, Trump will be in office. And I think this is going to be the election that's going to stir up civil war in America. Okay, deliberately done, created by them. Okay, and it's leading into all this stuff. And this is also why they're moving in on your First Amendment right now, because when it's all said and done, you won't have no Bill of Rights or Constitution anymore. Okay, what you'll have is complete tyranny and enslavement for the survivors.
Yeah.
And worldwide, they plan on reducing the population down to their 500,000 by the year 2030. And in the United States, they plan on dropping the population down to 80 to 85% by 2025. Okay, so that should scream volumes to you to tell you exactly where we're headed. And if you don't think this is going to happen, well, then you just keep complying. You just keep putting that diaper on your face, okay? And you keep following all the rules, okay? And watch and see what your results are going to be.
Yeah.
You're going to have to grow some gonads and not put that damn diaper on your face, okay? You're going to have to not listen because if we could get the numbers of people not listening, we could stop them. But that ain't going to happen now. We all know that, right?
Yeah.
How many people do you see with a diaper on their face over there, Ron?
Oh, Bill, everyone, literally everyone, even when they're in their own cars, probably when they're in their own homes as well. But in public, it's a whole it's an entire like system of shaming that's been instituted in one month.
Yeah.
And it's like it's the entire morality of the country. And everyone who goes out must be seen with a mask. If you don't wear one, you're completely evil.
Oh, yeah, I know. See, this is how it works. Just think about this. Let's go back a year ago, okay? Nobody worldwide was walking around with a diaper on their face, and you know what's funny? They actually believe it's protecting them. Protecting you from what? You know, enough people have showed you it protects you from nothing. And, you know, when I have real life experience on a job that I worked for over 2 years of wearing one of the masks you can get from a pharmacy. And they had boxes of them there stocked up on them. And we were tearing down them developers with that toner in it. And we changed the mask 3 times a day. And at the end of the day, I was blowing toner out my nose and spitting it out my mouth. That's right, and changing the mask 3 times a day and throwing it away and putting a new one on, and there's the results. And you can see the toner floating in the air with your eyes. Well, an airborne pathogen you can't see with your eyes, so your mask is
common
the
sense should
equivalent
tell
of
you.
a garage door that's open. Go ahead, Mark.
Basic sense should tell you, right? Like if you go out there, they're wearing their mask, right? And they're getting like common colds and things like that, right? Like during the changing of the seasons. Well, if you can catch a cold, I'm pretty sure you can catch COVID through the mask.
Don't say the word again, Warren.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm not trying to give you a hassle. I'm just trying to protect us from the algorithm.
Yeah.
But have you guys encountered, like, I take it that any of us four in the chat, me, Bill, Warren, and Hayden,
well, High Life,
we don't wear masks.
Yeah, well, you know, High Life type.
You don't wear a mask out, Bill, no?
High Life in the comment section has typed in martial law is coming, and he's correct. That person is absolutely correct, because it is. Think about it. Trump hasn't even lifted the state of emergency.
And even when it happens, they'll still be calling us conspiracy theorists because they'll believe so much of the hype that this is necessary for the security of the nation because blah, blah, blah.
Oh
by all
yeah.
the excuses they're being fed to them, and don't think that this is a necessary measure.
Well, it's a
People are already
necessary
been trained
measure.
to.
It is a necessary measure, Warren, for the criminals,
Yeah.
for the ones doing it to us. It's necessary
People
to
have
shut
already
us
been
up.
trained. I mean, I don't know to what degree, to how much of people. There's already a sizable, somewhat portion of people have already been convinced that freedom can't work, and we need an authoritarian dictatorship to save us.
Yeah, well,
I've
it's
heard
basically the
I've
mask
heard people making these
mandate.
arguments online.
The mask mandate is basically telling the populace to bend over and seeing if they do, and they have.
Oh yeah, they
So,
sure have.
what do you think's going after that?
Somebody
After they've
please answer
seen
me
it.
this one question, though. Okay, why would somebody get rage and anger and speak out against the New World Order if their solution is to have an authoritarian dictatorship? Well, that's what the government is offering you, an authoritarian dictatorship. So get in line and shut up. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
If that's their solution, I mean, I don't get it, man. I mean, I see some of these folks out there. They're usually these like barely level 1 aware people who are like, red pillars or black pill or whatever this crap is. I mean, they'll say some of the dumbest things to them. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's coming down, man. No doubt.
Well, that's why it don't surprise me to see this up there in Congress, this bill, taking your First Amendment, because this has all been planned for a long time. And they're going to push all this stuff right on paperwork, and then the border followers wearing badge, wearing a little piece of metal on their shirt and a uniform with bubbles on their car, they're going to follow the orders like good little order followers and destroy their own children's life. Yep, they're going to destroy their own children's life out of their dumbness. So I said in America, you can't have a brain cell 1 to be a cop. If you recognize the Constitution or you recognize human rights, okay, even natural law, you can't be a cop.
Yeah.
They won't hire you. They need somebody that's the perfect dum-dum who will just follow the orders obliviously and mindlessly. That's who cops are. And I hate to say
a lot
that.
of former military. That's what they train you for in the military. They tell you going in, a good soldier or a good Marine or a good airman or whatever, don't ask questions. They just follow orders, And
That's it. That's it. Brad, what do you think boot camp's about? Brainwashing on a higher level.
Yeah.
It's really mind control. You might as well say MK Ultra all over again, right? Because that's what this is. You have a worldwide MK Ultra. I mean, this is one of the steps right out of MK Ultra. What do you think's happening worldwide? People are being traumatized, mentally traumatized by this. That is a step right out of the playbook of MK Ultra, right in your face, and it's happening to all of you.
Well, you know what the funny thing about this is, and of course I'm sure the whole McCarthyism era was staged too, but nonetheless, I remember. I mean, I was a kid, and I remember seeing footage of people apparently used to mock McCarthyism, saying, "Oh, that's not going to happen in America." And that was back in the '70s. Well, look where we're at now. I mean, it looks like maybe he knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe he wasn't so crazy after all.
Well, think about it. What Ron said earlier is exactly right. I mean, think about it, Warren. Go back to the days of the Blog Talk Radio show. Okay? Think about, I've been called every name in the book. You've been attacked. I remember you sent an email that got blah, blah, blah because I had TFL, And
yeah.
So, you and I have been attacked, We've been attacked pretty damn hard, I had feds at my door. I had military outside my door putting a green light through my window. I had the loss of a job. No, that's no lie. All that stuff's factual. I don't come up here and bullshit or sugarcoat anything. I tell you just as it is. Okay? What am I on? My 4th channel now? Okay? Because I've lost my other channels. And, and every time I do a show, when I'm doing nothing, my subscribers grow. Now, I don't care about numbers anyhow. I'm just pointing out censorship. When I'm doing
Here's
nothing at all,
when things get so bad, when things get so bad, right, that you've literally got a civil war breaking out all around you. People are being rounded up and sent into quarantine camps to be executed, and all this other crap's going on. And is this kind of world you want to live in, like food shortages and people starving. And I mean, I look at when it gets that bad, bro. I mean, probably, if anything, I might just take myself out. It's like, dude, I've already seen enough of this shit, bro. I mean, you know, I'm trying to live for something beyond this, whatever that is. And if going to the other side means I'm one step closer to finding a way to break out of prison, bro, then so be it.
But if
You
you
know
go
what I'm
back
saying?
to the boiling frog analogy, where the heat is turned up on the frog pot gradually, so that they don't notice. This past year has been where they've just jammed up the heat and they didn't care. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, everyone has not even noticed it's happened. They've all gone along with it. And think about how brazen the elites are going to get now.
Oh, well, you
If
know,
people
Yeah.
have accepted what they have now in the last year,
well, that's just it, you know.
what are they going to put upon us
As
next?
as people keep complying, they keep taking more. See, and they're not going to stop
Yeah.
till they have their want. This is why people have to grow some balls and some clits and start not complying. And I'm not trying to be mean to anybody, but this is the reality. If you keep complying with putting a diaper on your face and staying apart, okay, you're helping them. If you, these auditors online, all over YouTube.
Well, man, I'm kind of happy for my job.
Yeah, I understand that, but you know, like on YouTube itself, it's filled full of auditors running around filming police and filming businesses and intimidating people to get the cops called on them and blah blah blah. And really, you know what they're doing? They're helping to destabilize the country. This is the
Yeah,
reason
but
they're
at
all
the same
around.
time, Bill, you were praising the protests that happened a month or two ago
Yeah, I
in
was looking
London
at.
and in Germany.
Yes, I
And
did because the protest in Germany was
yeah, but
over
those
the
were
diaper on
absolutely
your
controlled
face.
opposition.
Yes, but that's not the point, Ron. The point is at least people talked about was protesting over the diaper on the face. Now, protests don't do anything. But now them
Yeah, but you
say
should
if
have
you could
seen
take
because
them
we
same masses that now listen to this, Ron. If them same masses that were up there protesting in over in Germany and United Kingdom and even here in America, all the protests that was going on, if them same masses would just stop complying and stay the hell, not you don't have to protest because it's like rising arms. You know, you got to realize they get their power from scaring the shit out of people and people complying and listening. Okay, if you grow some clicks and stop being scared and stop being worried about what somebody else thinks of you and grow some tough skin and you stop complying, and if enough people do it, they can't do nothing about it. They get their power from us, and we got to stop giving our power away. We're giving them our power. We're giving them ourselves. We're losing what we got because we're giving it to them.
yeah, but Bill, the thing about that is we had the exact same protests were very prevalent over here as well. And do you know what they were talking about in their big rallies? They were talking about the Great Reset. The
Oh, I
Great
know.
Reset is
Yep.
Agenda 21.
But you catch this, Ron. This is something I thought about, okay? Think about it. They're calling this the fourth industrial revolution, right? And I've seen some information recently that sort of says this is true. Think about it. This is the fourth. Why would it be the fourth? Wouldn't there have to be a 1, 2, and 3 first? I suggest that we are living in the third right now. That's why that's the fourth. I suggest this has already happened 3 other times, at least 2 other times that we don't know about because it happened before any of us was ever on Earth, and it happened probably what 300-400 years ago, you know, and then it happened again what 300 or 400 years before that. That's what I suggest has really happened because think about it. Why would you say it's the fourth? Why would you be at the first industrial revolution or the second? No, they got us at the fourth. Okay, and when you really think about it, you really start digging deep. There's a lot of stuff that suggests this is not the first time this has happened. You know, the like World War I and World War II, okay, really was about doing away with history. What do you think? Right after World War II, they took all the history books out of the school systems. They did, and they replaced them. And how many people in this chat was alive during World War II? Think about that a moment.
Nobody.
At least
Exactly.
not that
Even if
we
you look
can remember.
globally, you might.
No, it was a new.
I doubt if you'd be able to pull together 50 people from around the world that were alive during that time.
Yeah. Well, Betsy Hayden was right there. You know, he can't, you know, I don't think there's anybody, including myself, that was alive to know this stuff. See, so you got to realize that what they've done, and that's why I was thinking hard about this great reset, this fourth industrial revolution. Why would you be calling it the fourth? It only makes sense because everything we've been taught from the time we were born has been a straight up lie. Pretty much, okay? And you don't, people grow up and they think they already know, they think they're educated, but they're educated to what they're told, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Just like a television set was sold to you as entertainment, when in reality it was for brainwashing, to shape
Oh,
you,
yeah.
to condition you, okay? A sports arena was sold to you as entertainment. When it was in reality, it was to divide and to get everybody in the mindset of competing against each other. And what happens when you
Wow.
compete against each other? Oh, well, you get angry at each other, don't you?
Very profound statement, Bill. It's true.
You know, and that's just it. I've looked and I keep looking and I just can't help myself to keep looking, okay? I took a break for a while, wasn't even looking. I just want to chill out and not do it, right? And then the stuff happened that led me to looking again. And I started looking again and now I'm hooked up, okay? I just, and I've been knowing this stuff for so long and I'm watching and I'm seeing this stuff. And then I got thinking about this damn great reset, the fourth industrial revolution. And I was digging, looking more and looking more. And then I'm seeing and I'm listening, I'm hearing certain things being said and I'm looking into them. And it's all adding up. That's why I'm telling you, man. I think this is called a fourth industrial revolution because it's already happened 3 times in history. And what do we know about history? It always keeps replaying itself.
Yeah.
So and this
Well, they
the
say
sad thing
fourth
is
industrial.
yeah, but see the sad thing about it is everything you ever learned and anything you ever looked up in history, you cannot totally trust. I mean, I think there's fragments of truth.
No.
I think there's fragments of truth in it with a bunch of propaganda in it as well. And so I
The
don't
further
like,
you go back, the harder it becomes to dig a comb through.
yes, yes. And now, you've heard about the great book burnings. Well, you're
Oh,
having
yeah.
the you're having the book burning right now, but this time it's not physical books, it's bit burning. Why do you think they've been scrubbing the net? Why do you think they're taking people out? Part of it's right now that's coming in. They want to shut anybody up that's telling and showing. They don't want this stopped, okay? They want to continue forward, and that's exactly what they're going to do is keep going forward. And the only way we're going to stop them is through people, well, doing what we've never been able to get them to do. Okay? Stand together. Simply stand together in masses and say no. It's that simple, but it's also 20 million times hard because nobody wants to do it. Because after all, we're all nuts, right?
Yeah, Bill.
Right.
As far as you were saying there about the fourth industrial revolution, what's really characterized the progress from the first to the fourth has been digital technology. We're really moving from machines to digital, to
Well,
the digital world,
you are.
the
I
Yeah,
mean,
from the
information
industrial
age,
to the
the
technological.
information, yeah, the information revolutionary age. That's the progress, and what we know now is the internet. That's like kind of like the liftoff. Like they're going to the industrial revolution. We're now going to the kind of liftoff into space, and from here it will be transhumanism's unbelievable technology we couldn't even think of, like linking your brain to computers.
when Warren and
That
I
will be
was
here
talking,
sooner than.
Warren and I was talking somewhat about that yesterday, okay? And Warren made a statement, and I would have to agree. I think it's more like 100 years, but they're 50 to 100 years ahead of us in technology right now that you know nothing about. Think about it. They've been controlling weather for 50 plus years. And they lie about it and say they don't have the ability to do it when they are doing it. How do you think that superstorm came through my state? That storm was like 220
I know,
miles
but
away
They
from
were
my house.
the
they
thing
were
about
seeking
that, though,
clouds
is
as far back as Vietnam to bog down Vietnamese formations to make it
Yes.
rain, to bog it down. That's
yeah,
back
but the
in
thing about
70s.
that is that's very minuscule on the scale of things. For them to be able to control gross objects like winds and the weather, if they can control your mind directly, it's 1,000 times more effective. That's where they're going to go, and that's where they are.
Well, they are
And they're
going
already
there.
there already.
Yes, Hayden's correct. They're already there. Why do you think they're moving in now? Because they're already there and they know they're already there.
Yeah,
And you know, and
unfortunately.
unfortunately, you know, but the Third World War isn't going to be what people think it's going to be. A lot of it's going to be weather warfare. A lot of it's going to be, which we're already witnessing right now, by the way. Okay, it's going to be civil unrest. It's going to be phantom disease, starvation. People didn't pay attention. I mean, the food supply has been devastated through 2020. They've been
You know what's
targeting
going to
the
mean?
food supply.
You know what's going to mean when the future of humanity has been re-engineered to be asocial and asexual? That means that all future humans, if you can even recognize them as humans at that point, I mean, you know, eventually they're going to stop looking anything like what we see as humans. But
Yeah.
it's going to be like hermaphroditic little squat little goblin things. But anyways, that's what I was getting at. What was I getting at? I lost what was I saying again?
You lost it, huh? That happens, Warren.
But basically, the soy boys of today will look like the
Oh yeah, I remember what I was saying. I remember what I was saying.
the
That means in the
Hercules of
future,
tomorrow.
that means in the future, you know, all your future generations will be born in test tubes. You
Yeah.
know, I mean,
That's a fucking
it might
tragedy
even get
right
to a
there.
point because of all these designer baby crazes and shit like that, which are only going to be available for the wealthy elites who run the big harems and shit, if anything.
Right.
I mean, but you know, they're going to already have babies born in test tubes.
Yeah,
They can sit here and
that's correct.
Yeah, genetic engineering is the big one, really.
You know, that is totally correct. Warren's right. Warren is 100% spot on, man, because they have literally already created a baby in a test tube. Really, no lie, in a military lab.
They can have designer made babies. They can sit there. They can sit there and say, okay, I want this baby to have, you know, this color hair, this color eyes, this color skin. I want them to have this gene and that gene. I want them to be able to grow into a 6 foot tall alpha male and whatever. I mean,
but that's only the
they can
smallest
pre-select
layer
those
of it.
genes.
They're going to be able to create what the citizen they want, and that means obedience to them. Once they figure that out and they roll it out through the genetic engineering technology, and they have control, they determine what traits the next generation have. That's when we will see it coming in. That's when the New World Order will really only be taken off. Like what we think we're seeing now is nothing.
Oh, what
But
you're
this
seeing
eventually
right now
will
is
become their new man, which is, and what this new man is a hybrid, one hybrid race and gender. There's going to be no individuality. There's going to be no anything, no personality, no thoughts that isn't given to. I mean, and basically what they want to use that for, they want to use that for a vessel to colonize other worlds.
Yeah, you're exactly right. As we see now, with there are some homosexuals who have their babies transplanted into other women's wombs, and both the mother and the father's genome are being artificially implanted. Every birth is going to be like that in the future.
You notice how all this stuff is also lined up with them trying to move towards exploring Mars and all these things. They want their new man, their Ubermensch, to eventually colonize other planets. And they're already making plans on, within the next few generations of trying to terraform Mars.
Yeah, no, I don't know about that. I think this is more
I don't know if that's going to happen within maybe the next 100 years or so. I don't know how long it's going to take.
But I think, like, if you look back, say, to the 60s in America when they were going in outer space, that was a more kind of a pure ideal of something of the past. Like it wasn't really an era where the globalists had as much power as they do now. So I think outer space exploration, that's something that the elite won't really care about. That's something they want to suppress when we're entering into this new, like...
They've totally got plans to colonize other worlds and spread their empire off of Earth.
I just don't see why they would bother with that.
And it's going to be over a long period of time. Look, they plan, like, Charles Darwin wrote a book called The Next Million Years, right? This is their plan for the next million years, and he pretty much lays it out. Like, they plan a long time ahead. They pass these agendas down to their young, and then down to their young, and then down to their young, and so on. What we're going on right now has been passed down for so many generations, at least well over a century.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the elites who are in power now, they seem like just out and out psychopaths. They don't have any higher aspirations or anything of that nature, which when the space exploration of America and the Soviet Union was going on, it seemed like there was a higher level of idealism. And it was about something more than just an oligarchy taking over. Like, it was more kind of a pure...
and that's the thing. Power knows no limits. Greed knows no limits. It's not enough for them to rule over Earth. You know.
So you think they would want to go to outer space? Because I know Mark Passio talked about that. He speculated that the origin of human beings was other extraterrestrials coming to Earth to try and mine it for gold and other resources.
I'm not going to say whether or not we've been visited by extraterrestrials or not. I mean, I haven't seen any conclusive evidence that we have. I won't completely write it out of the question. I do know they're going to be using a fake alien scare. That's a whole other subject. But I do think this is that if we ever did make contact with actual intelligent alien life, we like to imagine the intelligent alien life is a lot like us, right? They're like bipedal beings with a spoken language that we would understand. What if that's not the case? Well, I mean, for all we know, intelligent life on another planet could be plant life that breathes in sulfuric acid and lives like 600-degree weather. I mean, temperatures that would completely burn us alive. I mean, you know, it might not be anything at all, even remotely like us.
No, well,
they could be like squid monkeys.
I don't know about that, because if they are going to make contact from that far away, I think they would be benign. The elites who govern us, they seem a lot more like kind of primitive. They seem like they're at the very lowest form of life on this planet. They're like lizards or something.
Well, one thing they're not.
But maybe David Icke is saying something.
They're very well organized. I mean, they're primitive in their brutality in a sense, but like.
Yeah, they're emotionally primitive, but
they are very, very well organized. This whole thing is a top-down.
Yeah, no, they do have high IQ, but a lot of the time IQ is kind of overrated. There's something like a deeper intelligence that would be necessary to make, say, interplanetary civilizational contact. So if we ever contact other species or other interplanetary species, I imagine it would be a very high form of life and they'd be very benign. Whereas the powers that control the world now, they seem to me to be almost like a lower form of life, almost like animal life, kind of just getting too prominent position.
Let's say if they did, here's the thing, right? There's no telling how powerful this other life is, or what they might end up picking a fight they can't win one day.
Well, you know,
they might end up getting their asses kicked.
You know, Warren, I've told people many times, when you walk outside and you look around you, you see life of different forms and different things everywhere, from ants to dogs to, you know, go to the zoo. Look around you. The grass is alive. It's not dead. The trees are alive. They're not dead. That's all life, okay? So you already have many life forms. You have fish and sharks and, you know, name it, in the ocean and the waters, okay? So to say that couldn't be another form of life you know nothing about, that would be impossible, you'd have to really not be using your brain, because I think there's a whole bunch of things we do not know, because so much information has been kept from us, okay? So you have to have an open mind.
We haven't explored all of this world yet. Like, our planet alone is less than the size of the grain of sand on a beach in the universe, right? It's less than that.
Yeah, exactly.
We haven't even explored this one grain of sand. There's large regions of Earth we haven't yet explored.
It's true.
And if we were to throw off the elites represent only the most primitive level of human beings that exists right now on the planet. So if we were to throw off the elites, we'd be only going to the level of normality, normal human being existence. And how far we can go beyond that is only a mystery from us. But if it doesn't happen, the elites can potentially destroy this world. And we'll go into oblivion to a nuclear war or whatever it is.
You know, sometimes I almost wonder if they have access to wormhole technology. Maybe if there's some sort of, you can get far enough underground in the right area, maybe there's access to something like that. Because I know as far back as like 10, 15 years ago, I remember Israeli scientists developed a wormhole about the size of a pencil. Well, that's what they're showing us on the surface, and what do they have behind the curtain. Because if there's wormhole technology, it makes you wonder. These are all, I'm spitballing here, right? But I'm saying, let's say something did engineer us here, right? Whether it's interterrestrial, extraterrestrial, interdimensional, whatever it might be, right? Well, through wormhole technologies, let me give you a scenario. Like, let's say you got people saying, the abovers. We're put here by aliens. They came from above, right? The below. Don't know we're put here by Neanderthals and troglodytes. They came from below, right? Well, what if it's both? You see, as above, so below. What happens if there are two and one at the same time? You know what I'm saying? It's all theoretical. This is hypothetical. I'm not saying that this is the case, but it's something I thought about.
Yeah.
I don't know this. What I will tell you is this, right? There's a good chance that humanity in the form that we're in right now has already been genetically re-engineered at some time. Why do I say that? Well, let me explain this, okay? Our records, even those records are skewed as far as we were discussed earlier, because the further you go back, the harder it is to dig a comb through history. But our records only go back to about the time of ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, right? Which is about maybe roughly 40,000 years ago, right? But we've been around for like 500,000 years longer than that. We have no records of that, right? We know that those records were likely housed in the Library of Alexander back in ancient Egypt, and officially they burned out to the ground. Unofficially, I think they probably moved those records out somewhere. The chances are they're probably somewhere in a vault in the Vatican or underground somewhere where we're not getting to, under like super tight security, right? Like not even the Obamas and the Clintons and the Trumps and the Cheneys and the and so on and so forth can get to that shit.
Well, Warren,
there's no way in hell we get to it.
Well, Warren, I think you're pretty. I do know this to be fact. Okay, when you said they probably have it underground. Well, I'll tell you what, they have an underground place that's nothing but big vaults that were built to store stuff, and the only people that have access are high up elite people. And they're storing stuff underground for real. So what you said is very accurate.
So the question becomes this then, right? Okay, we don't have any access to its first 500,000 years of our existence. What happens if bear in mind that the average person uses only 11% of their brain. Now, I know enough to know from studying science and from studying how things evolve, right? That it doesn't give you parts that you don't need. If you don't need it, it wouldn't have developed. It would have no reason to be there. So why do we have these huge brains if we're only meant to use 11% of them? At what point is that brain activity? At what point did it get shut off? How did that happen? What were we like before that?
It does seem to play into the theory that we were actually genetically engineered by other extraterrestrial life form, because we definitely don't seem to fit into this planet, do we? The more history goes on, the more complex.
See, we could be totally missing a very vital part of the human experience. The entire world right now could be missing it, and they wouldn't even know because they never got to experience it. That could be part of the reason why we're so fucked up as a species now. It's because we're missing a major part of who and what we are.
Yeah, exactly. We do seem to be hell bent on destroying the entire rest of the planet, the entire ecosphere. So why would we do that? What exactly is it? what exactly
You know?
are we programmed to destroy the rest of the planet? Unless it was extraterrestrial life who originally programmed us to be what we are.
And,
If they
the
use
cheerleaders
this,
of science will go back there and they'll tell you this crap about how you're treatment, but that doesn't solve it. I'll tell you why. They like to think that Neanderthals were a bunch of big, dumb, primitive apes, right? But the Neanderthals have proven to be a lot more intelligent than we give them credit for. They've had religious rituals and structures and things like that erected that people are starting to think, oh, they're just dumb apes, but they weren't as dumb as we were led to think they were. You know what I'm saying? So who's to say? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, they also. I mean, if we're supposed to have evolved from the Neanderthals, and there was many other different humanoid species, I don't know why
There's theories that we're not even directly related to Neanderthals. The Neanderthals were like a cousin species or something at one point in time. And I could potentially see that. But here's the thing. There's certain bloodlines alive today that still have Neanderthal DNA in them. Mainly the Basques of Spain. I've heard the Tuaregs of the Libyan Sahara Desert, and possibly the Kurds.
No, everyone except Africans has some Neanderthal DNA.
Yeah.
Because the Neanderthals were originally in Europe, and when humans came out of Africa, they bred with them. And they split into Europeans and Asians, and now every other human population has some of their DNA.
Yeah. Yeah, but the Basque in particular are like, I think they're like part Basque. I think. Like, I mean, I know, like, I'm not saying like just have Basque DNA, but they're like actually like, I forget what they said. I have to go look it back up. But like, I think they're like genetically like, I don't know. They're like, I don't know. I'll look it up and see what it says. Hold on, I'll go to Google. Neanderthal Basque. It said Neanderthals left a rather rich and long cultural sequence in northern Spain, who in Basque country populated the high coastal plains of Biscay and Gipsukwa. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Where is that at? It was, hold on. Prehistory. It says back to prehistory. Hold on. Paleolithic, I guess. I don't know, man. They bear some kind of like strong like relation to the Basque. I mean, to the.
You don't think that the
Neanderthal.
current elites have any relation to the Neanderthals, do you?
I don't know. That's a possibility. Again, I don't know.
Warren, to Ron's question and what you two are talking about, I would have to say to Ron, I think there's a likely chance there could be, because let's look at the reality. It wasn't long ago I posted a video up and I showed everybody an 11-year-old girl in school who was doing a project of family tree, and she decided to do a family tree on Trump. And she found out every president from George Washington up, with the exception of only one, was all related. All related. They're all bloodline. They're all family members in history. So,
Yeah.
I see Blue Skies is in
Yeah,
here. I hope Blue Skies Media doing good. You're always welcome in the show.
Yeah, come on in, bro.
That would be very consistent though, because you've heard of Newgrange, or Stonehenge in the UK. You've heard of Newgrange in Ireland. It's kind of like the same Neolithic lineage who created it, and they found that the king who was the king they assumed from that structure, he was related. He basically had been bred brother to sister. He was incestual. And it's the same with all of these Neolithics. every Neolithic structure they found has had the same pattern. The mummy, like same within Egypt, the mummy they found buried within had all been bred by brother and sister, so they've all been incestual. Now, why would they want to preserve such a lineage so strongly? If it was merely human, they wouldn't bother, wouldn't they?
Yeah, you know, and that's the weird thing about a lot of these elites is they inbreed, man. Like, if you look at the Darwins, they only bred with, like, maybe 2 or 3 other elite families. I think, like, Wedgwood was one of them, and they inbred. They're largely inbred, man. They breed, you know, they breed generations and generations of inbreeding, man, and, you know, that produces psychopathic
offspring. It couldn't be random because there isn't really much superior about one genetic
well, I'm going to tell you why they do that, too, because they believe fully in the reincarnation of the DNA. The soul is the DNA, right? And they want to make sure that they're reborn back into wealth and privilege and power. They don't want to risk coming back as a common person, right? So.
Well, I'm not sure about that, like, because DNA, now we know more about DNA than ever, and most of DNA structure, like, it's pretty much the same throughout humanity. Like, it only has very superficial traits that it passes on. For the most part, the species is continuous throughout whichever generation or whichever particular DNA strand comes from.
I mean, I can break you down things that they've said, like, right, like here, let me pull you up something, right? This is Friedrich Nietzsche, Thus Spake Zarathustra, right? Hold on, let me go to Google here. I'm gonna bring this up for you. I'm gonna read this for you. What's the name of it? Despisers of the Body. Nietzsche, Despisers of the Body. Okay, I'm gonna read this to you, man. Okay. To the despisers of the body will I speak my word. I wish them neither to learn afresh nor teach anew, but only to bid farewell to their own bodies, and thus be dumb. Body am I and soul, so saith the child. And why should one not speak like children? But the awakened one, the knowing one, saith, Body am I entirely, and nothing more. The soul is only the name of something in thy body. The body is a big sagacity, a plurality with one sense, a war and a peace, a flock and a shepherd. An instrument of thy body is also thy little sagacity, my brother, which thou callest spirit, a little instrument and plaything of thy big sagacity. Ego, sayest thou, and art proud of that word. But the greater thing, which thou art unwilling to believe, is thy body with its big sagacity. It saith not ego, but doeth it. What the sense filleth, what the spirit discerneth, hath never its end in itself. The sense and spirit would fain persuade thee that they are the end of all things. So vain are they. Instruments and playthings are the sense and spirit. Behind them there is still the self. The self seeketh with the eyes of the senses. It hearkeneth also with the ears of the spirit. Ever hearkeneth itself and seeketh. It compareth, mastereth, conquereth, and destroyeth. It ruleth and is also the ego's ruler. Behind thy thoughts and feelings, my brother, there is a mighty Lord, an unknown sage. It is called self. It dwelleth in thy body. It is thy body. Let me repeat that. It dwelleth in thy body. It is thy body. There is more sagacity in thy body than thy best wisdom. And who knows, and who then knoweth why the body requireth just thy best wisdom? The self laugheth at thine ego and its proud prancings. What are these prancings and flights of thought unto me? It saith to itself, a byway to my purpose. I am the leading string of the ego and the prompter of its notions. The self saith unto the ego, feel pain, and thereupon it suffereth, and thinketh how it may put an end thereto, and for that reason, for that very purpose it is meant to think. The self saith unto the ego, feel pleasure, thereupon it rejoiceth, and thinketh how it may often rejoice, for that very purpose it is meant to think. To the despisers of the body will I speak a word. That they despise is caused by their esteem. What is it that created esteeming and despising and work and will? The creating self for itself, esteeming and let me repeat that. The creating self created for itself, esteeming and despising. It created for itself joy and woe. I'm getting tongue tied. The creating body created for its spirit dispositor of the body. I tell you, your very self wanteth to die and turneth away from life. No longer can yourself do that which it desires most, to create beyond itself. That is what it desires most. That is all its fervor. But it is now too late to do so. Yourself wisheth to succumb to the dispositor of the body.
And your body, each serve.
Who's
Why am I
got
echoing?
somebody turned on my channel and they turned it on. So I don't know if Ron did that. Don't do that, okay? It'll give audio feedback.
I'm almost done.
Yeah.
I'm almost done. It says, to succumb so riseth yourself, and therefore had ye dispositors of the body, for ye can no longer create beyond yourselves, and therefore ye are now angry with life and with the earth. And unconscious envy is in the sidelong looking of your content. And go not your way, ye dispositors of the body. You are no bridge to the Superman. Thus spake Zarathustra. That's it. But I can give you other passages like this.
By you reading that out, do you think that Nietzsche himself was a transhumanist? He was in on the agenda?
I don't know if he was. I don't think he could have been a transhumanist at the time, because at that time, I'm not sure it really existed. But yeah, he was definitely in on the agenda. They all were. Anybody who was anybody down through history, they were given a stage. They were one of two things, right? Either they're a knowing shield clown, which is the majority of the cases, or in a few cases, like saying in modern music, and there are a few of them that you could argue maybe were missing, but again, they were being used until they found out. That's when they got taken out. Guys like maybe Tupac, Kurt Cobain,
Yeah, but a lot of people...
You get potential arguments that maybe they didn't know they were being used.
A lot of people would interpret that Nietzsche was really when he talked about the Underman and the Superman, he really meant the Underman were the people who would go along with the agenda, the technological transhumanist agenda, and the Ubermen would be the people who would save the rest of humanity.
Yeah, because remember, this is a top-down system. If you go back and you read Plato, Fisherman of Men, he discussed how people are plucked from obscurity, and before they're given a platform, before they're given a stage, they're made to take an oath, and they're made to play ball. If they're not going to play ball, they're not given the spotlight. It's a top-down control system. You see what I'm saying? If you're not going to play ball, they're not going to give you a platform.
But the last man of Nietzsche are those who we're seeing around today, and the Ubermensch would be those who actually go against the control system. I think that's a more conventional interpretation.
Well, that too, you bear in mind they love rebellion, controlled rebellion.
Whereas, were you saying that the Ubermensch were really, in his interpretation, the elite of today? That's what it really meant.
Huh?
And say the Underman was kind of like, as you said, the mixed race, the completely docile and subservient masses, and the Ubermensch, the Supermen were the elite themselves. Is that how you interpret it?
I don't think it's in those kind of terms, really. I think what they consider to be their Uberman, and remember, they talk in riddles a lot, man. It's kind of vague at a certain point. But what I gather is that the Ubermensch they're one of the most efficient slave at being able to perform their functions. They don't want a slave that's going to ask too many questions or that's going to be too resistant.
So that's
right now they're able to use controlled opposition to get certain things passed. Right, I'll give you an example of what I mean by this, right? Like the Truth Movement. The Truth Movement is funded by the CIA, right? Well, one of the best ways that they could eventually use to tear down this system is with the Truth Movement, right? And of course, you see all these pseudo-truthers. You see some of them that are actually, side with all this woke ass shit now. I've seen this shit online. Anyways, they'll be able to use a lot of these things to tear down the old to bring in the new. Because they got to tear down the old to bring in the new. And that's what they're doing right now. They're tearing down the old.
In that sense, is the Underman and the Superman from your perspective, is it kind of like the PUA's alpha and beta, where they're kind of competing against each other
I
to
don't think
be
it's
top and
whether they're
bottom,
competing
whereas
against each
they're only
other. I think they're just,
well within the
it's like
system.
you read Huxley's Brave New World, right? There's different grades of slave, and they're used for different purposes, different functions in different areas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then
yeah,
both are
like,
well outside the system. Neither of them have any power, really. It's just
yeah,
an
like
illusion.
everybody's purpose bred for a certain role.
Well, I think right now with what's coming in, when they're all said and done, they're going to drive everybody back to the 1700s. They're going to hold the technology and everything for themselves, and they're going to drive everybody else back to the 1700s. That's alive, that is. Okay. That
Well, it's gonna be like Mad Max. It's gonna be like 1700s with brain chips and singularity and all this transhumanist nonsense.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know, and I don't want to be. I wouldn't even want to be in a world like that. I don't even
I
care.
wouldn't either, bro.
But this is, this is what you get when you don't stand up for yourself in society, and you allow a handful of psychopaths to run you. And I mean, we're getting what we deserve from the way we treat each other. Let's look at reality. For the last 30 to 40 years, we've had nothing but male shaming and male bashing all over the media. Okay, and then you turn around and think about people's behaviors. They have divided the genders, they've divided the races, they have divided us all deliberately. Because when you break down the family unit, you divide all the races,
And
you
so it
destroy
goes back
one.
into something you said. There's a primary and a secondary target within the gender wars, right? The primary target is men, right? The secondary target is women, right?
Yes.
Well, think about too. I mean, how they've been trying to they've been trying to strip masculinity out. From taking dodgeball out of schools and all this stuff. And you see it largely in the music industry, right? I mean, you look at anything mainstream now has become soy as shit, bro. I mean, like you used to have masculine stuff. Things shit ranged from thrash metal to gangster rap in the '90s to but nowadays, like, you don't got anything like masculine anymore being promoted. It's all like Nickelodeon pop. I mean, whether it calls itself rock, rap, country, or pop or whatever, it's all just Nickelodeon pop. I mean, like, I could even tolerate the pop like 30 years ago. I mean, over the shit that they're putting out now. I mean, I was never a fan of a lot of pop music. But
well, yeah, it's all the homosexual agenda and the transsexual agenda, which basically turns into like an infantile kind of a culture, whereas before they were focused more on kind of like the exaltation of the Negro and all kinds of vile degenerate stuff. Now it's gone pure infantile, and that just shows where they want the
now
masses.
listen to various kinds of music. I'm into like reggae. I'm into like folk. I'm into like Motown. I'm into like various different things. But I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. Like, I've noticed that in the past few years, though. I mean, like anything that's aggressive, that aggressive nature. I mean, it's like, particularly when it comes to like white male aggressive nature, like I mean, like here's the thing, man. I mean, I'm not for violence in any sense of mean, unless it's in self-defense. But I mean, here's the thing, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it don't make no sense to me. I mean, like, you're gonna, these are the same women are gonna want a man to protect them from other men. I mean, so I don't know. I mean,
yeah, no, it does seem like they've went from self-defense to pure aggression. That was like in the 90s or whatever, to just pure defenselessness and wimpiness from the men in the current era. Like that's why they were kind of concentrating on the primal energies of the black population. They were so big in the 90s. But in recent times, it's like they've just gone into pure femininity and defenselessness, even for the men.
Oh yeah, so many men. I don't even call them men anymore. I mean, I'm sorry, I just can't. Too many men out here ain't even real men. Not in today's society. you got women that are braver than the majority of the men. I mean, the one thing that I'll say Mr. Hoka said right was in today's society, it is literally, okay, men love women, women love women, okay? Men hate men and women hate men. But what did they think?
Yeah, they
What did
we're
people
also
think was going to happen? You can't have 40 plus years of male shaming everywhere and double standards up the yin yang and have any good results out of that.
Here's the thing: throughout history, feminism, or bear in mind, the American or modern Western feminist movement isn't the only time that's been out there through history. There have been feminist movements in various other cultures down through time and down through
yes,
history.
and it's come at the very end of their civilization.
And it marks the end of their empire. It marks the end of their empire because that's usually when things start to get out of hand. They usually tend to lean towards
exactly.
and perceive some sort of authoritarian control.
And it's all part of one single continuum. At the end of the civilization, you get three fundamental signs: feminism, immigration, and sexual liberation. And they're all basically the same thing. They're all part of, like, you're kind of opening up your tribe, like demographically and also socially. So you're becoming more open to new ideas. You're opening up your moral system. And at the end of it, you're so weak that whatever tribe is coalescing around you comes over and takes you over. That's been the eternal pattern.
Which here in America, that would be the Muslims.
Yeah,
maybe not in America. It might be more Latinos and stuff in America. I don't know about it. I only know most of Western Europe is going to be the Muslims, and probably in Canada too.
Yeah, it could be anyone. The way we're shaping up down the West, like literally anyone who just affirms traditional ways of life and like traditional ways of governing will be able to take us over, because we're basically only being run by the monetary system, a global monetary system. So we have no boundaries. So we're at complete vulnerability to attack from any side and from any group.
Yeah.
And that could be the Muslims, it could be the Chinese, the Russians, the Indians, whoever it is. In the long run.
Well, that being said, too, we don't have much of a Chinese presence right here in America right now. But you think about this, though, right? China has already bought up massive land here underneath our noses. They've been doing that for decades. They've been buying up land here. Okay.
Oh, they have.
And now they got a finger inside here with. They control over sports figures like Copernic and all these other people. I mean, they pretty much run the NBA with their narrative. And they've already got TikTok, and they've already got a finger inside of America. So think about it: if everything goes to shit, right, and the Chinese are come in to restore order, you see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, they could easily do it because China's been buying up a lot of stuff here in America. They own it, land, houses, buildings, the whole 9 yards. China is the role model for NWO. That's what they want the entire globe to be like. Okay, so no, I mean, like I've told people all year long, we're getting ready to head into a time that I thought I'd be already gone on the other side before this came, but I'm not. I'm still here. Okay.
We're already in an Orwellian state. I mean, they haven't even started issuing brain chips yet. I stress the word yet, but we're already in a proto-Orwellian state. I mean, just look around you.
Yeah. Well, when I look at the destabilization that's going on and how they're destabilizing this country, it ain't just bringing in the immigrants. That's why I told you these so-called online auditors. You're seeing all these guys running around, or even there's even a woman doing it. Okay, they don't realize that what's happened is the police departments deliver all across this country, law enforcement, the justice system is just as corrupt as anything else. I mean, from the top to the bottom, okay? The tool, okay? The 13 families who own the tool, which is your money. How do you think they got where they got? Because everybody is sold out, okay?
Dude, think about this, man. even down to lower positions, like let's say if you have to take your car in to get it worked on because something's going wrong with your car, right? Even fucking like lower end jobs like mechanics are fucking dirty and fucking crooked now. How crooked do you think your government is? How crooked do you think doctors and lawyers and politicians are?
You can't. Warren, you struck on something that is so true. You could take your car into a shop to have it fixed, and now fix it part way and leave it so another problem will happen, so you'll come back. Then they'll sell you.
They do this shit all the time.
They'll sell you something you never needed on your car, because if you walk in there not knowing anything about a vehicle, and a lot of garages are doing this nowadays, anything, because it's all about money, the tool. How do you think they got all these governments and all these governors here in the United States and governments around the world all on board to commit what they're doing? Because
I'm going to tell you the basic concept of how business works, man. And this world is a business, right? Let me give you a scenario here, right? Okay, the law's job is to stop crime, right? Well, there's no crime to stop, then they don't have the paycheck. So they got to make sure there's crime, right? Red Cross is there for disaster relief, right? Well, there's no disaster for them to fix, they don't have a paycheck. So this is how the world works.
Yes.
Right, big pharma. They need illnesses to be able to sell cures, right? Medical industry. They need illnesses to be able to sell a cure. So they'll create illnesses to sell cures. In fact, Plato wrote about that back in the Republic, and that was like well over 2,000 years ago.
Yes.
And it's still the basis behind how they operate now today.
That's it. I just say simple, no needles. Okay, no needles.
Well, it's become a lot more technical for them. They have the pharmaceutical industry, which pretty much controls like a good half of the public purse. The public budget is going into pharmaceuticals, the medical industry. So
yeah, definitely.
They have more power now than they could have ever dreamed of in the past, even 100 years ago.
I just call the medical industry here in America, I call them Nazis. Okay, so like I got a Nazi center right across the street from me. Okay, so if you go to the hospital or the clinic, all you got to do is remember they're actually Nazis, and you can say, well, how would they be Nazis?
And how ridiculous is it, the fact that they are saying that they're shutting down the economy for the sake of old people, whereas here in my country, they were planning this year in 2020 to bring in a referendum to allow euthanasia to go ahead so that they can kill off the old people.
This is how they always started. They'll go after.
It's absolutely ridiculous that they can.
They'll go after elderly. They'll go after homeless. They'll go after disabled people.
They really?
Yep.
Does anyone really think that they're shutting down our economies, they're destroying our countries for the sake of a few old people? Because that's the only, if to the extent that COVID is actually in existence, it's only affecting like the very, very late terminal people in our society, the people who have like less than a decade left.
Well, it's already
been.
So
who actually believes their narrative?
Yeah, but Ron,
at this stage? How could you?
It's already been proven that the majority of all the deaths was not because of the invisible bug. They were already dying, already had underlying conditions, and they died from what they were already dying from, and then they just wrote that they died from, and the test is as fraudulent as could be, because Kerry Mullen is the guy.
Exactly. So how are people still wearing the face masks?
The diaper?
What you just said is, you're not saying that as a so-called conspiracy theorist. You're just talking from the facts.
I am.
So how can everyone go along with this, really?
Because they don't look into nothing, and their God, the TV set, and their leaders, the criminals, told them so. And they're not gonna they're not gonna challenge that. No. This is massive
even the mainstream media. Even the mainstream media have been posting the facts lately.
Well, that's because they're laughing at you. The media
age is like 90 years of age.
Yep, but they're laughing at you. They already got the mindset. They're gonna have everybody scared of everybody, Ron.
The government is still posting out these enforcements, and people are still going along with them.
Well, I've already experienced this, and I'm going to tell you this is where this is going. I was leaving Walmart. There's an older gal sitting on a chair taking receipts. Okay, I don't put a diaper on my face. Okay, and I refuse to do it. I won't do it. So I'm in Walmart and I'm leaving now, and she's checking. I has to check my receipt, and she's telling me, "Stand back. You don't have a mask on. Stand back. You could get me sick." Okay. Now here's the mentality. We're all going to become allergic to each other through this social engineering, because if you go back a year ago, nobody had a diaper on their face. I thought about a new product we could make. We could make mini rolls of toilet paper, and we could call it face wipe. When you take your diaper off your face, you could spray some of your disinfectant on it and wipe your face. I mean, you wipe yourself after you go to the bathroom, right? So you might as well just go ahead and have some mini rolls of face paper, okay? And you could just go ahead and wipe your face when you take your diaper off.
Yeah, the exact same thing happened to me the other day. I don't wear a face nappy either. And I was checking out at the supermarket in Lidl. Lidl is like you have Walmart in America. In Europe, we have Lidl. And I was just checking out, and this woman started shouting, "He's not wearing a face mask. He needs to get out. Why is he doing in here?"
Oh no, it was
And
a Karen.
and so I just left. And when I was walking out the door, I shouted, "COVID is a hoax."
I think I
So
think I think we should make some bumper stickers saying exactly that. Okay, make
but
some bumper
I'm
stickers and
not
blah blah
really
blah.
that brave in public. But you said you are, Bill, so I'd say you would be saying that to like their face. You wouldn't have to walk out the door.
Well, when I went into that store the one time that has that sign on there, and I was clear at the back of the store when this gal stocking the meat turned around and started telling me, "You got to put on that mask or you got to get out of here. You're not allowed to shop here." And I looked at her and said, "Oh, so you are a Nazi." She went quiet, and when I was in, I went up front, and the three gals behind the counter were trying to sell me a fucking mask. "Well, give me $5 and buy a mask, and you can shop in here." And I says, "Oh, so you three are Nazis too, huh?" And they fucking looked at me, got pissed off, and all three of them left the counter as they threw a mask at me. And they went somewhere else in the store and threw a mask at me. Okay? I didn't even put the mask on. I took the mask, walked over and got what I was there to get, went through the line with no mask in my hand, walked out the freaking door with my merchandise and dropped the fucking mask in the garbage can. I don't care. I'm not going to do it. This is the problem. People are compliant. You're going to comply right till they lead you to the edge of the cliff, and they're going to say, "Okay, now walk over now." "Okay, sir." Yeah, bam. What happened to them? They died from being too stupid to be alive.
Yeah, because I'm going
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah. That's
buses
not
and
even an
stuff.
exaggeration. People are going to gradually become that dumb. I mean, as they become less and less human over generations and generations of genetic engineering and all this other shit that's going into this, man. I mean,
And they don't even need to say anything. Like I'm going on buses on a day-to-day basis, and it's even just you can tell by look that they've already internalized this whole agenda, and it's like you're doing the most evil. It's like
I believe it
you're
was who was it? Was it one of the Huxleys? I can't remember who it was who made this statement, but he said the common man will come to love his servitude, and there'll come a day where people are able to find joy and pleasure in things they should find abhorrent. Basically, if we get to a point where people are going to be bred to enjoy their own abuse.
But you know what?
well. If you've ever needed evidence of that, look at today's world.
All you got to do, I mean, people enjoying abuse. Look around you, man. People are getting their entertainment on hurting other people. That's their entertainment nowadays.
I'm talking about like they're going like being abused themselves, like.
Yeah, well, we've got people doing that too, unfortunately, and
we do.
And I think that's when you reach that point that you're enjoying pain. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know how I got here. Sometimes I look and say, "Where's my spaceship? I need to get the hell off this planet." I don't know how I must have crashed here. You know, it's
Yeah.
unreal for me because I walk around and I meet so many people and I see so
You
many
know the weird
people
thing.
and it's all
You know the weird thing is,
dumbed down. What can I say?
I've been through it 1,000 times in my head since the time I was a little kid, man. I mean, that I could sense something was off. I didn't know what it was, man. I couldn't quite put a finger on it at the time, but I knew something was terribly off. Something was like massively off, like soul shatteringly off. But I didn't know what it was. And over the years, I gradually started to put things together and gradually started to, build a picture of what it was. And here I am at 41 years old, and man, it's a soul crushing reality, man.
Well, it is. Warren and I sort of met in the middle. I was doing my research, he was doing his, and when he found me in TFL, it was the other half he was looking for. So, it was like we met right in the middle.
Yeah, but think of back in the day, in the early TFL years, people like Smiling Skeptic
Oh,
saying
you
like
mean
Bill
smiling? You mean
Greathouse.
smiling dumbass? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Smiling
And he
dumbass.
was saying like Bill Greathouse is a complete insane lunatic. And I'd just like to see him now. Imagine the excuses he's trying to pull out to
Well,
say why
right
they're trying to
now
put a nappy on people's faces.
he's went quiet because what can I say? I mean, he's just a smiling dumbass. I remember I'd done a video up in Sheldon, Iowa, and across the street, the college there had flag of the U.S. and flag of Canada. And old smiling dumbass came up and attacked me and says, "You better not be in my country. I see that Canada flag." And I'm like, "Oh, you idiot."
But he's probably still trying to pass this off as like a deadly flu, the Spanish flu of the early 20th century. He's probably still trying to try go along with the early propaganda that it's going to
He'll
kill all of us.
he'll have some big, long, drawn out, fancy words for it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind that stuff because I've been attacked so many times over the years, and you've been around a long time, Ron. So I'm sure you've seen me attacked many times, and I have been.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially the early
You want to
days
know
when
a
you
good
got it.
source of information the hermaphroditic agenda and the overman? Read up the opening chapters in Mallory P. Hall's book, Secret Teachings of All Ages.
Yeah.
I mean, they dive headlong into that crap, bro. Like, also, you can read the Divine Pie Matter, which is written by Pythagoras. That was also a good one.
It is. How many
There's a whole body of
Warren?
literature.
This question.
Yeah, the early 20th century.
This question I got goes out to you and Ron both. Okay, when you guys are out and about, and not at home, and you run into people in a store, stranger, and talking, do you tell them anything about what's going on in society?
No. At one point I did. I stopped doing that a long time ago.
Oh, I've never stopped doing that. Never. See, I don't care. I'd be sitting.
I mean, if I come across somebody who looks like they might be onto something, or they might be awake, I'll gauge them and see how far they're willing to go.
Yeah, I understand that, but see, that's why, like, even when I come back to my hometown and I went down there to get my dang license switched over, and they handed me the card that said the Real ID Act, and she tried to tell me well, since 9/11, it's better to give up some of your liberty for security. And I lost it, man. I went off on her. Fucking my brother was standing there freaking out. I freaking ripped him a new asshole and walked out the door. He came out freaking 10 minutes later and looks at me and said, I says, "So?" And he says, "Yeah." The guy looked at me and says, "Oh, you must have a real fun time at home with him." See, I don't care. I just don't care because I know what I'm seeing, I know what I've studied, and I know these people have looked into a fucking thing, okay? And there she was pushing that Real ID Act on me, and I remember that coming up 10 years ago and it got stopped. Well, here it is 10 years later, and it's coming in, okay? So there you go. We stopped it 10 years ago. It's here today.
He who gives a little liberty for a little security deserves neither.
Exactly. They
That was a
deserve
quote.
neither. And you know what? That's what they're going to get, is neither.
Yeah, you know. Because here's the thing: even if you comply and do everything that they expect you to do, and you're a good little sheep and you fall in line, here's the thing: only a certain number of those people are going to be allowed to live.
Yeah. They got major population reduction right in their fucking mind right now, and they're moving in on it, and they're going to get by with it because there ain't nobody going to fight back. They're all
I'm
too
going
yellow.
to tell you what: the ones that do get to live aren't the lucky ones. I'd rather die than live like that.
Yeah. You know, I would say you're going to die fighting back as a man, or you're going to die on your knees as a coward. Take your pick. You know, they
But yeah,
said this a long
to
time
answer
ago. If
your,
you want to keep your freedom, you're going to have to draw. You're going to have to fight. There's going to be bloodshed to keep it. And if you don't do that, you're going to lose it. Well, guess what's happening? We're losing it.
Yeah.
but Bill, to respond to your question, if you think people are bad in America and Europe, people are a lot more sheepish and conformist, even still. They just go along with whatever the government says. We basically have a one-party system, at least in my country.
Well, you know what?
And no one questions your gender whatsoever. There's so much more totalitarian in the media.
Yeah, your country's not far off. Your people over there are doing the same thing that you're seeing over here. How many people in your country do you see that's not compliant?
That's why I wanted to I brought up earlier the whole anti-mask protests. You can call them retard rallies. They were not legitimate. You were kind of talking them up in your videos, but these are
That's what I've been at before. Go ahead.
Yeah, these were controlled opposition.
Well, I already knew that, but
you should have seen the talking points.
But understand this, Ron.
They're basically promoting the UN agenda. They're out in the street, like with the huge microphones and thousands of people.
Yes.
These were controlled. Trust me.
They were controlled. I agree with you. I know about that, and I understand that. But the point is they only paid and put so many people there, okay, to get it started. Then you had a lot of people come off the streets themselves and join in that was not paid, that were legitimately there, right? But it is controlled opposition. It is controlled. But my point is you see the numbers they put together? Well, if we could get them numbers on the right end, we could stop it. But we're not going to get them on the right end, now are we?
What I was getting at before is go ahead.
So you would actually support these rallies? You don't think that they're coming straight from the right people?
I don't support the rallies. I support the fact that the people that wasn't paid, they're there hearing, and seeing about the mask. Now, of course, there was probably points and topics that shouldn't have, to steer them the wrong direction. Okay. But the point is that's the kind of numbers we got to be able to get for the right reason. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Because they get
but if someone organized, the censorship is like these days. They'd never get off the ground.
It's like about 7 years or so ago, they had a 1 million man march on Washington. It didn't go on TV nowhere. The only reason it was ever found out about is because people that attended it videoed it, okay? And then they posted it up. And you got to realize, okay, you had a 1 million man march on Washington. It didn't change a damn thing, okay? And it wasn't advertised nowhere. No mainstream media, nobody picked it up. They weren't allowed to. Okay, why? Because it was actually organic. But it didn't change a thing. The only way you're going to change
and even if it was organic, even if these marches were organic, the amount of people at them compared to the mainstream media, what they're pumping out day after day, hour after hour, minute after minute, telling you that you need to wear a mask, you're being so conscientious, you're saving lives. That would completely counteract any mobility on the street that was taking place.
I know, because they actually fallen for it and believing that diaper on their face is saving them. And Warren made a very valuable point earlier. So let's see, you wore your diaper on your face and you still got the common code. Okay, you're gonna wear your diaper on the face and still get a pathogen because Your mask inside your face is literally like wearing an open garage door on your face or an open door. Because
Yeah,
that
because
pathogen is going to go right through what you got on your face. Meanwhile, you'll be breathing in your CO2. You know, you're going to be
yeah,
bringing in
people
your.
here
It's
people
just
here
disgusting.
tend to praise the American media because at least there's, even on the surface, there's two sides. You have like CNN and Fox News,
Oh my
but both
God.
sides are pumping out the same agenda. Donald Trump is bragging about how he's going to bring the vaccine by the end of the year. So when it comes to the actual, real, pertinent issues, they're both on the exact same page in
Of course they
America.
are. You
It
know,
only seems like there's an opposition.
well, that's the Hollywood act. I mean, that's like watching WWE. You're gonna watch
Yeah,
wrestling. You got the bad guy and the good guy, and after the two freaking doing their thing, they're best friends, they're hanging out together and everything else. But in the ring, they were enemies. Okay, so you fought for the Hollywood act. Well, what do you think you're looking at right now? You're watching a big show. I mean, look at the similarities
Yeah.
between Hillary Clinton and Trump were cousins, by the way. Okay, look at the similarity when they were running against each other. I mean, selected and they're against each other in the Hollywood act. Hillary was suddenly sick. She didn't have long, right? As soon as it was all over, Hillary was all better again. She's strong and healthy and everything. Okay, now here we are with Mr. Biden and Trump, and Mr. Biden, he's got this and he's got that and he's sick and blah blah blah. And then you have Trump supposedly, well, he's a good actor. He pretended to get the invisible thing, and then he
but
pretended he miraculously got this drug that just cured him. Yeah, right.
here in Ireland, they don't even put on the stage show. They're just two. They're the exact same parties. They don't even disagree on any fundamental policy issues.
Well, the thing is this. This is why I despise devil's advocates.
You in Ireland, man?
Yeah, it doesn't even make sense to have a democracy. It's literally a one-party system.
Well, we're not a democracy anyhow, or a republic.
Yeah, so maybe it's even a bit. We're better. We're more honest here. We just tell the truth.
And
We
anybody
don't
wants to
pretend to be
say
a democracy.
we're a republic, I can go back to school and I can remember when every day we had to put our hand over our heart and we had to say, "I pledge allegiance to the flag." Okay. Okay, and one part of that pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, individuality, blah blah blah, and then to the republic for which it stands. And now we hear everybody saying it's a democracy. The pledge of allegiance to the flag didn't say into the democracy. This just goes to show how deluded people are.
Democracy was set up to be a segue into communism, socialism.
Yeah,
I
communism.
mean,
All 10 planks
yeah,
already in
exactly.
place in the United States. You see how they switched it? You see the switch and bait? Back when I was in school, they were saying a pledge allegiance to the flag and it was into the republic. And now, even in the court systems, they're all saying a democracy, a democracy. Okay? Pretty soon, you might as well just say it for what it really is. All 10 planks of communism are already put in place in the United States. So, into the communism, because that's what it is.
yeah.
Because if you can be deluded enough to think you have equal political power, you can be deluded enough to think you have equal financial power. That's communism at the
Yes.
end of the day.
Yeah.
So it's to make you, it's basically to empower you and try and make you seem like you're you're making the decisions. And that,
And even the wrong thing about it is, it doesn't solve the economic disparities either that claims it's there to solve. Let me give a perfect example of this is if we look at Hollywood, California, right? All these Hollywood liberals that live with private security, right, and gated mansions, right? They want to talk about they must defund the police for the common people, and make it illegal for them to defend themselves, right? And and they're living in these gated communities with private security, living on high while the common people are living in tent cities, shitting in the streets and shooting up, getting high all the damn place. And
well,
you know what I mean?
Look what's happened in California. You got tent city on sidewalks all over the place. People are working full freaking time jobs and can't even afford to pay the rent to live in a place. And do you see anybody
Yeah.
care? No, you don't see anybody that cares.
Well, that's the right thing. That's the right thing too. Right? These white liberals move in. They want to accuse all the other white people of holding down minorities. No, they are a certain portion of them. That have, and that's not to say it's all white. It's more a class and a race thing. But being as where white people are 2/3 of the population, yeah, they are mostly white. But yeah, they come in here, right? They move into these areas where like a lot of like low rent black people like live. Right? They'll move into these areas, right? And they'll raise them up for being again, but they'll raise the price up so high that none of the minorities and none of the poor people can afford to live there anymore. And then they turn around and blame all the rest of the white people for what they just did to them.
Yeah.
Saying, "Oh, you're privileged."
You see it going on
the average poor to broke white person is working a 9-to-5 job is privileged.
Oh yeah, well you know.
Some rich ass motherfucker went and.
Warren, you know that you're privileged. You know why? All she got to do is look at your skin color. That means you're privileged. You mean you had the privilege of being broke and having to break your butt to even make a living? You had the privilege to struggle through life? You were like everybody else that was telling you were privileged and they were too blind to see what was really going on?
It's only been designed as a deflection from the actual elites to blame white, male, straight.
It's called it's called the blame game, right? Division.
These categories of the human being, these fake ones, these very lowly ones, to deflect from the fact that it's actually the rich and the powerful who are really to blame.
Well,
the scorn should really be directed towards.
These people at the top behind this has made one hell of a lot of money. Okay? No kidding. I mean, I'm serious. From January to now this year, these wealthy rich fuckers have fucking doubled their fucking riches. They have literally stolen trillions of dollars through doing what they're doing right now. And they're taking
never done a better job of
division. They're about to transfer all their money to digital and crash. I mean, which they don't have a number to worry about. I think, you know, the wealthy elite, I mean, they run the money system anyways. I mean, you know, we're the ones being tracked.
Exactly.
And maybe the Middle East are being tracked to a certain degree too, but I don't think it's going to be as rigid on them right now as it is on us.
And the whole George Floyd campaign, they've never done a better job to deflect the real blame where it should be going.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of their COVID, the greatest ever psyop, they at the same time run this. It's like two psyops going one after the other at the same time.
This is why I can't understand. Think about this here. George Floyd protests went worldwide, right? So even in piss poor, broken third world countries where they have police brutality 1,000 times worse, right? Where they're literally just beat within an inch of their life legally for disagreeing with the government, right? They're making a big deal about this one case that happened way over in this rich country, way over here.
By an actor?
Yes, exactly.
And it was by an actor, you know.
Yeah.
That would just blew me away. Because if you watch the video from George Floyd, and you know they had several that played all over the net, and nobody paid attention. Nobody paid attention, because if they'd have paid attention, they would have saw George Floyd on the sidewalk, sitting down at the building, getting up, and in handcuffs, and he had a head of hair. Then the next thing you see is he's on the ground, and somehow he got a haircut and shaved. Suddenly he's bald. So you mean between the sidewalk and the squad car, he went bald?
It just goes to show, though, that the USA, the United States of America, is the entire centerpiece of the New World Order as today's world. The 19th century was the British. And
it's
from
not
the
going to
20th
stay that
century
way. We're on our last legs. China's going to be the one who's going to lead the New World Order. Right now, we're watching the beginning of the end of America.
West. You got that. You're going into the end of America right now. This country's going down. And there ain't nobody in this country is going to stand up and save it. You know why? Because they're too yellow. They're too asleep. They can't see what's right in their face. But they will call you a name. They'll call me a name. They'll attack us and tell us we're nuts. They'll refuse to believe what we say. And they won't take 2 minutes out of their busy schedule to open their eyes because they're too goddamn scared.
China, India, maybe Russia. I think Russia's the third big power is going to be and coming out at the end of it.
You know, and it ain't gonna do them any good because you know you think keep your mouth shut and comply, they'll let you alone. No, they won't. No, they won't. You're just helping them get by with it. Thank you for being complicit and dragging everybody else down with you.
Because the alt right movement, they're kind of optimistic about China. They think of it as a resistance to the New World Order, which they consider to be primarily stemming from America.
Yeah.
But I suppose you would, Warren and Bill, you completely counteract that. You'd say they're you even think that China and places like China, Russia, they're more
they're on the rise. America's on the decline. They're on the rise economically in the world scale compared to us. They're probably going to be the top three is going to be coming out the end of it. I know because the globalist agenda was designed like China's the model for how they want to run all that.
Well, what do you think all the
Right.
what do you think all the fires is going on right now? You got the fault lines, the San Andreas fault line and the Madridian fault line are both shifting and moving right now. Energy weapons
Yeah.
have literally been caught. Dutch Sense has actually caught it on video off their radar. Okay, they're literally using weapons to do some of this, and we got freaking from California clear up to Washington on fire, right? But somehow the
Yeah.
fire knew that there was a border going into Canada and says, no, we can't burn there, so the fire never goes into Canada. It can go from California clear to Washington, but it don't recognize. But the fire recognizes borders, so the fire must be a smart fire, like your smartphone, like your smart TV. It's a smart fire. It knows not to cross that line. It's insane.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of odd, ain't it?
Yeah. And you know, today I was looking at a live video of Horsetooth Reservoir. They were up on Horsetooth Mountain, which is right outside of Fort Collins, Colorado. Okay. And they were videoing live, and it looked like nothing but heavy fog, and it was smoke. And they were going back and forth, and you could see it. I mean, then there was a person in the comment section. A person says it's the same way in Boulder. They can't even go outside because outside the air is filled full of smoke. People with got lung conditions there wouldn't want to be going outside. They're going to be breathing in the smoke because it's still burning. And you
Yeah.
know what that's about? That's Agenda 21. They're going to relocate all these people. They're not going to be allowed back in them areas.
Well, here's something else that you got to think about too. Which this is something that people haven't really put a lot of focus on, right? But we've been noticed for a while is they've been planning a carbon tax, right?
Yep.
Okay, well, this invisible bug could be another segue into pushing a carbon tax.
Oh, sure could. I mean, you know, Warren, I mean, you got to pay to breathe, right?
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, pretty soon you have to pay to go to the bathroom.
And I'm almost sure it probably is going to be because anything you can imagine them using, you can imagine them using this to do, they probably are.
You got it.
and if
That's
COVID
about
doesn't
it.
exist and
But
if climate
Yeah.
change doesn't exist either, that they're going to be pushing climate change for years to come.
oh yeah. Well, guys.
Even if COVID apparently goes away, even though it never really came,
Yeah, well, Ron,
we're going to be dealing with that.
I appreciate you coming in here tonight, Ron. So don't get me wrong, I do appreciate that. And Warren, I know people
Yeah.
loved hearing from you again. I'm gonna get off the
All
live
right.
stream for now because I've got a couple things I need to do, and then I got to be up in the morning. So I'm gonna get
All
out
right,
of
no
here.
problem, Bill.
But hey, I highly appreciate it. Thank you, Warren. I know there's a lot of people.
Yeah,
that
had a
didn't
good
want to
time.
hear
You
me.
need to do these streams more often, Bill. Maybe wherever on the weekend, but yeah, you should have multiple people in more often, at least once a week. If not, bring back Saturday Live at least. Like, well, we're in Sunday Night Live now, aren't we?
Well, I don't know. It's Sunday and I'm live, but I didn't say it was Sunday Night Live. You see, the name of the live stream didn't say Sunday Night Live, did it? No. No, I wanted to. Warren was coming in, and I wanted to tell people about what I was seeing going on, and show them what's going right now, what's in the house, how they're taking your First Amendment right now away from you. But anyhow,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get out of here, guys. So You
All right.
all take care.